What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be reacting to a video by a channel named Bricks Fitness, and his video is titled 11 Reasons Why I'm Marrying This Woman. I just want to see what he has to say.
And the reason why I'm making this video is because I want to share my opinion on things that men should, who share my values. Let me say that. Men who share my values, things that they should be looking for in a potential life partner, if that's what they're looking for. Let me say this. I've had 2 failed marriages. I've had plenty failed relationships. I've also spent a lot of time learning myself, healing, therapy, meditation, like really addressing my shit. And I think that
And I think, honestly, that's very important when you're talking about getting into a relationship, especially after you've had 2 failed marriages, which is nothing to balk at, right? I've had 1 failed marriage. I've been married before. Now, do I think I'll get married again? I don't know. But I have come to the realization that I do need a lot of repair that I need to go through, a lot of growth and a lot of like healing, like personal and emotional healing. I know there's a lot of problems that I have currently in my life where getting into a relationship wouldn't make sense because I wouldn't be where I feel like I need to be to give that other person everything that I believe they deserve from me in a relationship.
Qualifies me to share my opinion on what I think a brother with the values that I have, right, should look for in a potential partner. It didn't take me long to figure out that this woman was the one I wanted to spend my life with. Let me also preface that this video may trigger some women and even some men. So now that that's out the way, let's talk about the 10 reasons why I'm going to marry my now fiance. The first reason, we share very traditional values. Her aspirations in life was to be a great mom and a great wife. That's what she wanted to do. That was her dream, right? I'm a very traditional man at this stage in my life.
I think values are probably the most important thing when it comes to choosing a partner, in my opinion, because values are really what make or break a relationship. It doesn't even have to be a marriage, but a relationship in the first place. Like I said, I've had a failed marriage before. Our values were just not aligned. Like, we didn't believe fundamentally in the same things. And I think that led to a lot of issues in our relationship. Now, was she a great person? I have nothing bad to say about my ex-wife. Anyone that's ever asked me about my ex-wife knows I have never talked bad about her. It just wasn't meant to be. We just weren't compatible. There was a lot of little issues that we didn't really address prior to taking that leap, right prior to getting married, and it showed in the relationship. Things like politics are important, whether you want to have children, how do you want to raise those children? All that stuff matters. If that's something that you don't address prior to tying the knot, it's gonna come into play in the relationship because eventually, over time, those differences are going to start to matter. I've seen plenty of times people get into relationships with people who don't want kids, like man gets with a woman who doesn't want kids, and eventually becomes a problem because a lot of people think, well, I'm okay with that now, but I can probably change their mind down the line. And what ends up happening is you end up having one party that ends up being resentful towards the other, whether it's the party that doesn't want children, right? Because you want children, and let's say you ended up getting pregnant, and then that person realizes that that's not what they wanted afterwards. They end up resenting you for that. Or you end up not getting pregnant, and the party that wanted the kids ends up resenting the party that didn't want the kids because they didn't have those kids. And those, I think, are fundamental values that need to be discussed between 2 people before they even decide to take that next level step.
I want to be the provider. I want to be the protector. I am very aligned with.
And again, it goes back to also what he was saying about wanting to be the provider, the protector. That he wants to be the one who provides for the household, and now he wants a woman who is gonna be a stay-at-home mom, who's gonna do the traditional things, right? And a lot of modern women don't want that. They want some of the benefits of being traditional, which are being taken care of, but then they also want to work. They don't want to be housewives, and they also want to live like city girls. And I think that that's where we get a lot of the current problems that we have in the dating scene, that women want a traditional man that's going to take care of everything, but then they don't want to be traditional women. They want to be able to actually still work, not depend on the man. You shell out all your dollars, she gets to keep all her money from working, and the day you guys break up, well, she saved all her money and you're down whatever it is that you're down, and it doesn't matter because that was the dynamic that you guys had during the relationship, right?
With gender roles. I think relationships are like businesses. Everyone needs to have a job and be really clear on their roles in order for things to function properly.
And I think that's a very fair point. People don't want to look at it like that, but in reality, marriage is sort of like that.
Now, in my relationship, the roles are pretty traditional, but that doesn't mean every relationship has to be like mine. I just want to add that.
And that's true. You do what works for you, right? If you're a guy that wants to be at home and your woman wants to work and she doesn't mind taking care of you as a man, right? Then there's no problem with that. Like, I actually know someone like that who she works, her man doesn't do anything. And she's had no problem with it up until recently. She's had problems, not because she minds taking care of everything, but because he wasn't doing the things that he was supposed to do at home while he's not working. And that's where the issue came down to. It wasn't about the fact that she was bothered by the fact that he didn't work. She didn't mind being the provider. It was that he wasn't working and also wasn't taking care of the house.
I know men who are stay-at-home men, right? And their wife makes all the money, and that's fine. If that works for them, I love it for them. That's just not for me. Not only do we share the traditional family dynamic values, we also share the religious values, right? Spiritual values. We also share financial values. So there's alignment there foundationally, which I think is.
And I think that that's very important. Religion, I think, is probably the most, if not one of the most important things when it comes to getting married or when it comes to shaping your values within a family, right? Religion means a lot. The reason I said I don't know if I'll probably ever get married again is because I've also realized that religion is very important. If I want to find a woman that shares my values, I'm probably going to find her at church. Here's the problem. I do believe in God, but I don't go to church. And I'm probably not going to find that woman who's going to share my values the way a woman in church would. And so I'm stuck with, do I deal with these modern women outside who want to be city girls, but also want to pretend like they want to be housewives, which they don't. They just want to have the title, but then still be able to do whatever they want. And it's kind of sad, but that's all it is really out here. In my opinion, if you really want to find that person who shares those values, you have a better chance of finding a traditional woman in the church than you do, obviously, at the club, but just outside in general.
Is very important. The second reason why I'm going to marry this woman, she was raised in a very strong two-parent household, and that was very important to me. She has a very good relationship with her dad. Her mom is very respectful to her dad. They've been together for a very long time. They've been through ups and downs. So she's witnessed what it takes to last in a committed marriage, right?
And I think that's another thing that is very important when it comes to finding the right person. Were they raised in a two-family household? I probably sound like a super conservative right now, but I'm not. I'm a middle of the road. I'm a libertarian type of guy, not a conservative whatsoever. But I do recognize that these are things that actually matter. These are the things that have worked throughout history. What's the saying? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. If it's worked throughout history, why are we trying to redefine what works? Two-parent household, mother and father, raise children, healthy children that go on to make their own families. But I think that also social media has skewed our perceptions of what a relationship is supposed to be like. A lot of people aren't happy because they might be going through a tough time in their relationship, and instead of dealing with it as a couple, they go to social media to get attention. They go to social media to ask, well, what do you think we should do? Well, what, they tell their story. And I've seen so many times where women will post stories, and I just want to say women because this mainly happens with women, but they'll post a story about a relationship, that it's something that's going on in the relationship, and I've seen the women in the comments are so quick to just say leave him, like it didn't matter. I've made a video about this. It was like a Reddit thread video where this girl had been with her man for like 4 years, and because they were having a disagreement about something in their relationship, people were literally saying you should just dump this man, like as if the 4 years that they've been together didn't matter. And it wasn't something that wasn't fixable. It was something that was legitimately fixable, in my opinion. But people are just so quick to tell you to throw away your relationship because they're miserable and they don't want to see other people happy. And social media, again, and then the good relationships that look really good all the time on social media look good because the people that are posting these videos want you to see it that way. They're only putting out the stuff they want you to see. So then your perception becomes skewed. And I think that contributes a lot to why a lot of relationships don't work, because we have a fake perception of what a relationship should be like now versus what it was in the past.
Right? Whether things are perfect, whether things are not perfect, she witnessed that at home. She also has a lot of love and respect for her father. And her father and I share a lot of the same characteristics. So she's very much used to a man with a strong personality, who's very strong-willed, very focused, very hardworking man. That's just what she is used to. So that was key for me. Reason number 3, she's a Proverbs 31 woman. And if you're not familiar with that verse, she is a woman of solid character. She is very virtuous. She is a woman of high noble character.
I'll be quite honest, it goes back to what I was saying before. I don't go to church. I don't read the Bible. I'm as basic as they come. I believe in God. So I don't know anything about Proverbs. So I'm just going to take his word at face value here.
She's very clear on her values, and she doesn't compromise them for anyone, including me. And I love that about her. She stands on her principles. She carried herself like a wife, even when she was single.
And I think that's very important because nowadays, a lot of women want to be treated like wives, but want to act like girlfriends. Again, they want to be taken care of, but they don't want to put anything on their part. And it goes for the men too. I'm sure there are a lot of men out there who have amazing women in their lives that act like wives, but then they treat them like girlfriends. It goes both ways. But yeah, there are a lot of people that want one thing but act like another. And again, I'm going to say mostly women because I feel like a lot of the entitlement in today's dating market comes from women. I've done plenty of videos, plenty of shorts where I've showcased literally women saying like, oh, my man needs to be making $650,000 a year before I could even consider him. Like, in what world do we live in where that is the standard? And then when you ask them, well, what do you bring to the table? I just bring myself. Well, yeah, but what is that? What does that do for me? Who are you as a person? Are you like the woman this guy is describing, or are you just... You're just you and you're a city girl, and you're going to be spending my money going out on lavish trips, and I'm going to be making the money, and we're going to pretend that this is what it's supposed to be?
And you don't see that nowadays. Most of the time, these women, when they're single, they are outside. Shorty was never
100%.
outside. Number 4, she doesn't like attention from social media. She has a very small Instagram account that is private. She actually has more friend requests than followers. She only have...
And I think that that's great. Again, it goes back to what I've said before. If she's not the type of woman that wants to be out in the streets, that's amazing. Me, I'm very low-key on social media, which is kind of funny because I do this YouTube thing, right? But my personal social media, within the last year, I want to say within the last year, I've literally only posted like twice on my Instagram. I don't really post anything on Facebook. The only time I post anything is when I go on trips, but I don't post anything. When I'm in relationships, I don't post that I'm in relationships. You know why? I don't like people in my personal business. I don't like people knowing what's going on, because when you make that very public, whenever you're having problems, guess what? All that stuff becomes public too. And even if it doesn't, you'll be good one day and then people think you're great in a relationship, and then the next day you're single and nobody knows. Nobody needs to know any of your business. And so for me, I would prefer women just like he describes, a woman who doesn't really use social media like that, who isn't trying to thirst trap and trying to gain attention from other guys. And these girls say they do it for themselves. No, you're doing it for the attention from the guy. Let's not lie about this. You're not doing it for yourself, because if you wanted to look at yourself, you could do that shit in front of the mirror. You don't need to post that shit online. You have access to your body 24/7. You can look at it anytime you want. You can even take the pictures and keep them on your phone, look at them there. No, you post those pictures because you want to thirst trap and then say that you're not doing it for guys, you're doing it for yourself, which is not the case at all.
I have a couple hundred followers. She doesn't really post herself that often, and that's something that I value. Despite me being in social media, I never wanted a woman who enjoyed the limelight of social media, that likes the attention, that kind of feeds off the attention on social media. She can care less. She don't care nothing about social media, and I love that about her. Reason number 5, she's submissive by nature. Now, I know that word is triggering to a lot of women, but here's the thing. Being submissive is not being passive, is not being controlled. She allows me to lead.
100% agree with him on it. Like he said, I think that word has been misconstrued. The meaning of it has been changed by the modern women to mean that you're passive. What a lot of these modern women don't really realize is that being submissive doesn't mean that you don't play an active role in your relationship. A lot of the times, the way it's traditionally supposed to be is that the man brings in the money, right? And the woman actually handles the finances. In today's society, we know that majority of the purchasing decisions made at home are made by the women in the relationship. They're not made by the men. So it's not to say that women have no power or no say in the relationships. A lot of the time they do, but they let their men lead in the matters of the household. But they still have a say. They still have sway in the decisions ultimately that a man will make. And that is what it means to be a submissive woman. Doesn't mean to be passive, just means to say you let your man lead you in the relationship. But the modern types think that it means you being a house slave, which is not the case whatsoever.
Now, let me say this. Not every man deserves a submissive woman. A lot of men out here talking about they want their women to submit. Like, you have to create that safe space. You have to earn the trust of that woman in order for her to submit to you. I'm not going to get in my bag about that situation, but the whole submissive terminology gets twisted out of context. It is mutual respect, but she allows me to lead. I protect her. I provide for her. She takes care of the house. She cooks for me. She does my feet. We take care of each other. She can get anything she wants from me. But the beautiful thing is she doesn't want much, which in turn inspires me to give her even more.
And I think that that's very, very, very important. In today's dating market, when you look at a woman and the first thing she does is ask you to pay her rent before we even go on a date, or buy her groceries, or pay for the babysitter. She wants you to be invested monetarily. She wants you to put up your money. You guys don't even know if you're compatible. And she wants you to take care of these things, take care of her car note. For what? For us to go out and maybe see if this goes somewhere? And I gotta do this a couple times before you even think about giving me a chance? Oh, like, yo, yeah, maybe we can kind of start getting serious. But then you did that the first time, the second time, the third time. Guess what? Now that's expected. She's gonna expect you to actually do that every time. Hey, babe, are you gonna pay my rent this month? Hey, babe, are you gonna pay my car note this month? Well, you did it when we were just getting to know each other. Why can't you do it now that we're serious? And a lot of women, literally, from the moment they meet you, they expect something out of you without giving anything in return. And I don't mean coochie. I just mean like just anything in general. Hey, you want to go on a date with me? Just, you got to pay for my nails. You got to pay for my hair. When it's the opposite, when you meet a woman as a man, when you meet a woman who doesn't ask for much or doesn't ask for anything at all, when you meet her and when you guys get serious, that makes you want to give more to her. That makes you want to naturally open up your pockets because you want to take care of that woman because she doesn't ask for much and because she gives you all the value in your life that you're asking for.
Love that. Another reason why I'm marrying her. Reason number 6, she takes really good care of herself. Her hair is always done. Her nails are always done. She works out. She eats good. This is a woman who really takes pride in her appearance, and no matter where we are. And I love that about her. That's her feminine nature, her softness. She always wants to present well because she knows she's always representing.
Yo, she should have been spotting them right there, not trying to take selfies. I thought this guy said she wasn't all about that social media stuff. Why is she thirst trapping in the gym while you're out there working out, almost failing the set? You know, you're going to set failure, and she's there just recording. What's going on?
Me. And I love that she considers that. She dresses very classy. It's never super revealing. Yes, she's attractive, but also very classy. Very important to me. Reason number 7, she's young and she doesn't have all the mileage. She hasn't been ran through by Tom, Dick, and Harry. She don't have a bunch of...
Another thing that's also very important in a relationship, you have to get with a woman who isn't an OF model and doesn't have the, 50 bodies by the time she's 30 or even younger. I mean, I've seen them. Oh, I'm 23. How many bodies? 100. How? Why? Studies have shown that the more sexual partners you have in life, the harder it is for you to actually form a connection with other people. And so when these girls are out there 30 years old with 100 bodies saying, oh, now I'm ready to settle down, even if they really were after they've been ran through, they will probably never be able to really form a meaningful connection with another man. Maybe with like a ton of therapy and a ton of like self-reflection, maybe that can be possible. Not saying it can't be fixed, but the odds are against that person.
Trauma on her from dealing with fucking weak ass dudes who are abusive. She doesn't have any of that on her spirit, which makes her feel super light. And she has this like pureness about her that I really, 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 really cherish. Reason number 8, she has deep reverence and admiration for me. She looks at me like a superhero, but you know what? The feeling is mutual. I have deep admiration for her, deep respect for her.
That is
adore
amazing.
This
That
woman.
is amazing.
Listen, I'm getting goosebumps right now. Look, I've never looked at a woman and felt such adoration and admiration in my entire life. Reason number 9, her presence calms my spirit. We have harmony, even in the middle of conflict. Because yes, of course, sometimes I get on her nerves, sometimes she get on my nerves. But
And that's normal in a relationship. Again, relationships are never meant to be perfect. Every relationship, good or bad one, obviously a bad one's gonna have more problems than a good one, but even good relationships, sometimes you will clash because people aren't 100% compatible. And that is okay. It's how you deal with the issues. As long as the fundamentals are there in the relationship, you can probably get through the problem. As long as it's not a fundamental issue between you two, you can probably get through it.
But even when we are having conflict, there's always peace, there's always harmony. It always feels like we're on the same team. No matter what, whether we're beefing or not, it still feels like we're on the same team. And I think that's important. That's a rare thing, extremely rare. But that's because our relationship is built on trust, 1000% trust. It's not built on love. It's not built on sex, even though those things are present. And the sex is amazing. I'm not going into details. I'm going to respect my fiance, but we have harmony. And I think a harmonious relationship was a non-negotiable for me. Reason number 10, she calls me out on my shit. She does not allow me to operate below my standard. If I am operating in fear, if I'm operating in anything other than my godly nature, she checks me on that shit. She has no problem calling me out when I'm BSing, when I'm vibrating on a low frequency. She will call.
And again, this guy has made nothing but great points. I think that it is important to be able to, in a healthy relationship, to be able to call out your partner, and for your partner to be able to listen to the things that you have to say when they think that you're doing something wrong. It goes both ways, not just her calling him out, but him being able to call her out when he thinks that she's not doing something correct, and then have a discussion about it. He's made some really great points so far in this video. I have pretty much nothing to disagree with him so far.
Call me out. And I love that because I need that. Reason number 11, she is 1000% my type. She is my spec. If I had to close my eyes.
And I know he said 10, this is his number 11. It is also important that your partner is attractive to you. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Everybody's tastes aren't the same, right? You know, what might not be beautiful to me might be beautiful to you. And she is a very beautiful woman. But yeah, it has to be, you have to do that. You have to find sexual attractiveness. You have to find the person beautiful or pretty or whatever you may look for in a woman. You have to find that in her for there to be some longevity. It does matter. I mean, obviously, if you do grow old, all that stuff fades away. But it is also very important when you're young and at the beginning of a relationship. I think that the points he made are very, very valid points. And I agree with him on every point that he made. And like I said before, for me, I've been married before. I've been down that path. I've been divorced for a couple of years. It's taken me really within the last 2 years, I want to say, where I started changing and started realizing that there's a lot of self-building that I need to do, a lot of maturing that I need to do. There's a lot of work that needs to be done before I can get in a relationship. And even just recently, maybe within the last 2 months is when I've actually realized that I need to go to therapy. It's not just working on myself and, doing better for myself financially, but I actually need therapy if I'm ever to get into a relationship again, a healthy one, and have a long-lasting, meaningful relationship that leads to what I want, which is a family. I know I'm gonna need to do it. I have to make that step before I decide to waste somebody else's time, because until I'm healed, it's probably not gonna work. That's all I have for this video, guys. I love this video. I 100% hope it works out for this guy. Like they say, third time's the charm. And I wish him the very best. And I will see you guys in the next video. Also, join the Discord. I do have a Discord link in the description. Join the Discord. And like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.